So this is a video I'm doing just to talk about um, how successful Octopath Traveler has been and why, for some odd reason, this seems to be a strange event for Square Enix. So with that being said, let's dive into it after the cut. So here's a little bit of context that people don't seem to realize. For years and years and years, Square Enix made their games exclusively for Nintendo, and by and large, most of them, or should I say Squaresoft, most of their games did well. Final Fantasies 1, 2, and 3, Final Fantasy 4 and 6, for years, like, their games did very well. And the thing that kind of went off the rails is, Final Fantasy VII, which had a budget of 45 to 50 million. If you adjust for inflation, maybe 80 million. Sony then put up 100 million at the time, which now would be like 130 million. So basically, that was a $200 million game. Ultra triple budget. And that game really took off because of its massive marketing campaign that was like 2 times more than what the actual game was worth. Now, here's the thing, and I'm just going to say this right now. When that happened with Final Fantasy VII, Squaresoft did some dirty deeds. They basically went to Enix, various other RPG houses, and basically got them to abandon the Nintendo 64 and go to Sony. Which cemented Sony's rule in the Japanese market, because basically, like, Japanese gamers at that time really liked JRPGs. So, with that being said, Square Enix essentially, Squaresoft basically was riding high on the hog. They were like, we are unstoppable. You can't stop what we're doing. And, but here's the thing. Every subsequent Final Fantasy game that they released after 7 did worse financially. It didn't get the $100 million marketing budget that Sony gave Final Fantasy 7, and it didn't sell as well. Okay, Final Fantasy 8 didn't sell nearly as well as Final Fantasy 7. And Final Fantasy 9 didn't sell nearly as well as Final Fantasy 8. Final Fantasy 10 didn't sell nearly as well as Final Fantasy 9. Basically, it's diminishing returns with sales. And we've seen this. No Final Fantasy in existence has been able to outsell Final Fantasy VII. And I would argue that no Final Fantasy in existence has even touched as the high level of Squaresoft's reign when they were making, Final Fantasies 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So basically, like the Final Fantasies they've been releasing on other, multi-plat Final Fantasies they've been releasing, in my opinion, are kind of shitty games, right? I mean, they're not very interesting to me. I know some people like those games, but I personally don't. But just from a critical standpoint, none of them have really, hit those high notes like back in the day when they were just making their games for one platform, primarily the Nintendo one. So with that being said, that leads me to my next point, which is why the sales of Octopath Traveler shouldn't be surprising after the cut. So basically this leads to a very simple point, which is this. Shouldn't be surprising that that a classical JRPG is selling well on the Nintendo system. Squaresoft has been ignoring a market that they used to dominate in the West on the Nintendo home system. And because they've been busy bleeding money out of every orifice of their body while giving a blowjob to Sony. that's been basically destroying them infrastructurally with, their cash flow and stuff. Because here's the dirty little secret that no one wants to admit, right? Square Enix, by and large, except for, Dragon Quest doing well in Japan, they really can't seem to get a foothold. They can't get a foothold in the market like they used to back in the day. During the fourth and fifth gen. The sixth gen, which was a great time for other developers to come in on consoles, was not good for Square Enix, okay? And the seventh gen was even worse. The eighth gen was even worse than that. So basically, this is, in my opinion, Octopath Traveler is kind of coming home. A hardcore JRPG on a Nintendo system. The last time we had a hardcore Square Enix JRPG on a Nintendo system was Final Fantasy, or should I say a Nintendo home console, was Final Fantasy VI. That's it. It's literally been almost 20 years since we had a quality, no, over 20 years. It's been 20 years since we had a quality JRPG on a home system. All because of Square Enix's bullshit and Sony throwing it at the boot. So it's not surprising that finally, when Nintendo gamers finally get some quality games, they finally get what they wanted for years, a quality JRPG on a Nintendo home system, that it sells well. They're like, I can't believe that. You're the motherfuckers who were blowing Sony's syphilis-infected dick. That's on you. But with that being said, let's get to the conclusion of this after the cut. So this begs the question: will Square Enix learn from them doing what they did when they were Squaresoft for 2 gens during the SNES and NES era, putting quality RPGs on the Nintendo home system, quality JRPGs, not westernized, dumbed down shit, quality JRPGs, which was what Nintendo gamers wanted. Will they learn their lesson? Well, the pessimist in me says, fuck no. The pessimist in me says they won't learn a goddamn thing because they're Square Enix, and that requires effort and knowledge and shit like that. Square Enix. The optimist in me says that maybe the horse will sing. And if you don't know what that means, it comes from an old Aesop fable where this man was caught poaching in the king's woods 3 times. The first time, he didn't learn his lesson. The second time, he didn't learn his lesson. The third time, they were going to kill his ass. So as they're about to take him out of the king's court to be beheaded, he basically says, "It's a shame, Your Majesty won't get to see a horse sing." And the king's like, "Wait a second, what do you mean I won't get to see a horse sing?" It's like, "Well, I can teach a horse to sing." The king's like, "Oh, really?" It's like, "Yeah." It's like, how long is it going to take you to teach a horse to sing? He's like, "I can teach a horse to sing in 3 years." And the king's like, "You know what? I was gonna have you executed, but I really want to see a horse sing, so I'll give you your 3 years." And he's like, "But if you can't get a horse to sing in 3 years, I'm gonna have you executed anyway." So as the guy's being led out to the stables to be taught how to teach a horse to sing, the guard says, "Man, you know that you can't teach a horse to sing." And the guy who has talked his way out of being executed immediately says, "Well, look, a lot of things can change in 3 years. I can die, the king can die, we could be taken over, and I can teach this horse to sing." And the moral of the fable is that time can change a lot of things. And maybe, even with enough time, you can eventually do what seems to be even impossible. So the optimist in me says that maybe Square Enix will learn from this game doing well and figure out if they put quality JRPGs on a Nintendo home console, something they haven't done for 20 goddamn years, they can actually make money. Maybe the horse will sing. But that's the end of this video. Remember, rate, comment, share, and subscribe. Every Saturday and Sunday at 7:30 p.m. We have 2 podcasts on Saturday, the Sci-Fi Power Hour-ish, which is around an hour long, and the BS Busters on Sunday, which is an hour and a half long, give or take. So look forward to that, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. Stay tuned. I will have some Tavern Tales coming out this week, talking about archetypes and one of my crowning achievements of tabletop gaming. So that's the end of this video. Thank you and have a good day. Once again, leave your comments, questions, concerns. I will be taking questions, spoilery questions about Octopath Traveler for this Sunday's BS Buster. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, you need help solving any quests or anything, leave it in the comment section. Thank you. Have a good day.